Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily spiritual podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator of the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha. Welcome to the show. This is episode 1405, here with Miss Mara spinning the dials, and a happy Prabhupada's appearance. That's another name for a birthday. We don't use birth when it comes to like special souls. We feel like it wasn't a normal birth like we have. It was an appearance. You appeared for our benefit. So it's a special day to celebrate our Param Guru, our Guru's Guru, Srila Prabhupada, who really left quite a wake when his coming to the Western world. And it ricocheted all the way back to India and all around the globe. So it's a special day for us. We just came off of a big, beautiful, international, intergalactical holiday of Krishna's appearance day, which was quite wonderful. If you live near a temple, they do an all-day fast and a feast at midnight. We had a nice program here. We had a kirtan. I told stories about Krishna's appearance and read a little bit, told some more stories. We sang a lot, and it was great. We had great people show up, and very, very sweet.
It sounded like you had a nice, auspicious evening there.
Oh, the weather was perfect. We set up tables outside. We all ate outside.
Look at that. Nice night at Super Soul.
Me and Jamie Step Dojo and Mara and Catherine A. We were all serving out.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it was really nice. It was. Oh, Tarun, my son, led his first kirtan.
There you go.
Yeah.
And you were telling me about some guy that was came for the first time.
My old friend Dennis showed up, and he and Bobby Marchand's dad were talking outside. And I walked into their conversation, and he just said, "That is a house full of beautiful souls."
Oh.
And I thought, yeah, it is. It's a house load of beautiful souls. It was quite wonderful. And I think this is what happens when we start to, I can only say clean our consciousness. We're cleaning our consciousness. When we clean our consciousness, we attract different things to us. We are attracting to us what we are meditating on a regular basis. So if you're meditating on sweet baby Krishna, divinity, then you're going to attract other people like that. And after a while, there's almost no room for heavy, dark things. And that's part of the cleaning process. We don't just clean ourselves. We attract different people. And if you have crazy people in your life, guess what? You're attracting them. So we set up.
Oh, no. Raghunath froze up. He's just getting all inspired, and he froze up on us. Hopefully he'll be back soon. Maybe I'll just share a little bit about my evening. I had a really nice time. I went to the Bhakti Center for Krishna Janamashtami, Krishna's birthday, which, traditionally you stay up till midnight because that was the time that Krishna appeared. And so there was, at the Bhakti Center, there's a program. They decorate the whole place really nice. And here's Raghunath's back. Hey, you back, Raghu? Speak to me.
We're back. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Mara was saying Arundhati, Prajumna's
Arundhati, yeah.
Yeah. Prajumna's wife. She came, and she's traveled all over the world with Prabhupada. So she's just a gem to have as well.
Yeah.
Special person,
special people.
Yeah, it was really sweet.
What did you do?
So I went to the Bhakti Center.
Yeah. Did they have a fast at midnight, a feast at midnight, or?
Yeah, they had a feast there. So I stayed up late. I spoke there. I recorded what I spoke. So we'll post that on We'll post that on the Sage Community platform for supporting members to access.
Yeah.
But it was a very nice, beautiful mood there. Sri Prahlad spoke. Veer Bhajar Prabhu spoke. So there's quite a few speakers. They kind of have the same speed, a short amount of time. But just beautiful Krishna Katha, beautiful kirtan. What can I say? It was nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, so you probably stayed up late. Tarun was pushing me. Let's stay up late and chant.
Yeah, Tarun wanted to chant till
Till
midnight.
I was like,
Oh,
you know what?
wow.
We're gonna go to bed and wake up early.
What time did you go to sleep?
Went to bed at 10 o'clock.
Oh, okay, man. I
Yeah.
got to sleep at like 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
Something like
Kaustubha,
that.
that's so not you.
Yeah.
It happens on these days, though, you know. Then you think
Yeah.
I was thinking I'd have like a little hangover today, but so far I'm okay.
Yeah, the fasting energized me like anything.
There you go.
All right.
Announcements.
What announcements we got, Mayor?
Well, there's still 21 spaces left for the Sage Group, so they're extending Sage Group registration until Thursday at noon.
Okay.
And you're now permitted to sign up for a second group from the groups that are not completely full or closed.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Double
Oh, like
up
if
in
you
your
want to
Sage.
join 2, you can do that now?
Yeah,
I know
exactly.
people have done that. It's double the fun.
Yeah, there's also sometimes Sage Group leaders who want to be a Sageling as well, or see what somebody else's
yeah.
group
Oh, that's
is like.
interesting. Why not?
Yeah, why
It's like
not?
we
Double the
waste so
Sage
much
group,
time.
double the
Anyway,
fun.
we waste so much time in this world. Did you ever realize that? Oh,
Oh, yeah, man. Forget about it. All right. Well, let's not waste any time today because this is. Oh, any other announcements, Mayor?
Yeah. If Wisdom of the Sages has been helpful in your life and you'd like to contribute to our work, you can go to wisdomofthesages.com and become a supporting member of our Sage community platform. So for a modest monthly contribution, you get access to a wide range of live and archived classes, community chat, t-shirts, merchandise, retreat registrations, and much, much more. Log on to wisdomofthesages.com and join today.
yeah, a modest contribution or an immodest one, whatever you're feeling like. Sometimes people just feel immodest.
Okay, Roger. Okay.
Oh, Krishna.
So, it's a unique kind of holiday season for us that rolls around every year, right? Because on one day you have Krishna's birthday, and that you stay up till midnight, and then the very next day is Srila Prabhupada's birthday. That's how it works.
Pretty cool.
That's today. So we thought we would do some reading. You ready for this, Raghunath?
Yeah.
Okay, what I did was I just looked at Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. This is, I don't know if, I guess if you're going to say the authorized biography, this would be the one, right? Written by his disciple, Satsvarupadas Goswami. It's a 6-volume set. There's a lot of memoirs out there now about people's time with Prabhupada, but this is like a thorough biography, right?
It's big.
It's big, and it's not written like, hey, this was my time with Prabhupada, this is what happened. No, it's like they just interviewed hundreds and hundreds of people, and they built followed the whole timeline of his entire life and built out a thorough biography. So I thought it's in 6 volumes. I have the 1-volume edition, but it was written in 6 volumes, and each volume has.
It's also coming out now on Audible too.
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So I really recommend this. Actually, it's a way where you learn who Srila Prabhupada is. Because if you're reading his books every day, like we do here on the podcast, it gives you a whole background, and it's kind of a soft way to learn the whole philosophy and history of Bhakti and everything, just through his life, So you really learn a lot from reading this book, and you really learn who Srila Prabhupada was and what is.
It's an easy read too. It's a fun,
Yeah.
easy read, adventurous.
A lot of
makes you
testimonies
cry, makes you
that are
laugh. A lot of
sprinkled throughout it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I thought we could read the introduction to each volume, and then that'll kind of take us like through his life. What do you think?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah. It's read by the old sheltered drummer, Akendra.
Oh, on the Audible?
Yeah, on the Audible.
Okay,
On
look at
audio.
that. Why didn't they invite you to read one?
I don't know. They didn't. I don't know.
I don't know. I was wondering what that might stir up in you. Yeah. Why didn't they?
Yeah, what the heck?
I was the singer. All right. So this is volume 1, which is entitled "A Lifetime in Preparation," right? Because he came to India as a 70-year-old, like to America rather.
Yeah.
So it's a lifetime in preparation to bring Bhakti to the Western world.
Before we jump into this, I'm going to ask Mara,
Yeah.
because Mara has probably read every Prabhupada biography, perhaps except this one.
It's-
She didn't read this one, but she read a lot of the other ones that are now coming out. And I haven't, I will say. But what's your favorite, or name maybe a couple of your favorite of the newer ones that have come out that are sort of one volume, but people who spend a lot of time with Prabhupada?
Chasing Rhinos is definitely up
Chasing
there.
Rhinos.
Chasing Rhinos is one of my favorite too. It's in 3 volumes. That's Shamasundar Prabhu's, and the world's been waiting for it, and it's cool. It's one of those things you can give to a non-devotee, and they'll be like, "Wow, what a crazy,
Far out.
magical, far out." Yeah,
Yeah. I also liked Swami in a Strange Land.
that's
I never read
Yogeshwar's.
Swami in a Strange
That's
Land.
yoga.
Yeah.
That's Yogeshwar's. I did read that. That is a great rendition.
Swami in a Strange Land.
And then Miracle on Second Ave.
That's Mukunda Maharaj's.
Yeah.
That is.
I like
That's
that
a cool
one
one too. I read
Yeah.
that one.
What about I'll Build You a Temple? Have you read that one yet?
I haven't read that, but
Not
I
all the way
heard that's
through.
great.
Yeah.
I was
That
asking
was
Mara.
Giriraj
Raghunath.
Swami. What's that?
I was asking Mara.
I
I'm just kidding.
Sorry.
haven't yet.
You haven't read that.
How about By His Example?
Yeah, I have read
What's
that. one.
that?
That's
So
a fun
you
one.
just had it out the other day, I think.
That's
Who-
Guru
who-
Das.
Oh, Guru Das.
Which
Yeah.
is, if you get it from Guru Das, Mukunda Goswami.
Yeah, I love those
it-
early stories of those first Prabhupada disciples. It just
the Guru Das is like we're in London, staying in some
Yeah.
almost like a squat or something like that.
it's,
and
it's so primitive and
and then
old school.
these visitors come over, like a whole troop. It's like the head of the Hells Angels, like Ken Kesey or something like that, the manager of the Grateful Dead. It's like these, it's like
It's
they're
like
real.
one crazy story. Yeah, those are the people you have to search out. These
Then
people.
George Harrison walks in. Yeah, it's like a whole wild stuff.
wild.
What about 5 years and 11 months?
Oh yeah, by Vishaka Devi. I love that book too.
Classic.
Yeah.
Classic.
Yeah.
A lot of good ones out there.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of good
Okay.
ones and probably more coming.
All right, you ready,
And
Raghunath?
I will say, I will say, to hear it from those very first people when the whole movement was not established yet, you get some special nectar there because it was so underground back then.
I mean,
Yeah.
those stories of when Prabhupada used to invite students over and he'd cook for them, and then he'd be the one like
Cleaning.
cleaning up after serving them out like the Sunday feast. It's just
Yeah.
like
It's
it's
a-
unbelievable.
another classic one is Hari Agrivas, which came out a long time
Mm.
ago, which is Hare Krishna Explosion. That came out. In
Oh,
the
that one
70s.
that's like Jack Kerouac.
Yeah,
If
he
Jack
was-
Kerouac became Prabhupada's disciple, that would be the one right there.
that's a very cool one, the Hare Krishna Explosion. But anyway, this morning I woke up playing Yamuna Devi in the Chowpatty temple, in Radha Swami's temple, giving her appreciation of Prabhupada from, I don't know how many years ago it was,
Wow.
but to hear Yamuna Devi talk about Prabhupada also.
Go send me a link for that, Bubba. Send me a
I
link
will.
for that.
I just sent it to Henry this morning. Henry had, Yamuna Devi live with him, and he took care of her for a few years. And so after listening to this, I was thinking, and we got to live, it's in my book. We lived with Yamuna at Henry's house for about 5 weeks or so. And I was thinking, man, the nectar Henry got in those 2 years, it must be
Oh, forget about it.
unbelievable. You hear these stories of Prabhupada that you never heard before. And then she
No.
would invite like Mukunda Maharaj over because Mukunda Maharaj lived in DC at the time. So Mukunda Maharaj, and then it's like you're on 26 Second Avenue yourself.
No, that was a woman. Not only did she have all that unique experience with Prabhupada, but she herself was like a walking saint. Some very deep spiritual, Vaishnavi, Bhakti yogi. She was not
Yesterday,
a normal person walking
Not
around. She had a
not
lot
normal.
a lot special teachings to share, but example and just her own presence.
I'm convinced. We were reading yesterday Krishna's appearance. Krishna ordered all the demigods, because all the demigods appealed to him, and the demigoddesses, and they all said, and Krishna said, "Okay, I'm going to descend, but all of you are going to have to come and take birth.
Come with me.
Come with me." And so all the demigods took birth in the family of the Yadavas, some as gopis, some as wives of the Yadavas. And so I feel like it's the same way. It's like Prabhupada had these people in line that he just like, she exhibited like this highest amount of bhakti,
Yeah.
but the costume she was wearing was of a 60s hippie, sort of like, not even hippie, but sort of a beatniky jazz singer or something like that. She had some material costume, but it became very quickly revealed of the potency of these people
Yeah.
that Prabhupada just like sort of touched and woke up from their
Yeah.
slumber and brought them almost to life again.
Yeah. Whatever she was very special. And then
Yeah.
Prabhupada's touch just brought out this bhakti in her. Yeah. Okay.
Henry wrote, "She took care of me," because I said he took care of her. She took care of me. Yes, sweet.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so this is the introduction to Volume 1 of the Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, which was entitled A Lifetime Preparation. This volume begins in Calcutta in 1896 with the birth of Abhay Charan Day. That was Prabhupada's name. And it ends in 1965 with Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami on his way to New York City aboard the steamship Jaladuta. The worldwide fame of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, later known as Srila Prabhupada, was to come after 1965, after he arrived in America. Before leaving India, he had written 3 books. Actually, it was 3 volumes of 1 book, right? That was the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. In the next 12 years, he was to write 60.
Wow.
Crazy, right? I'm trying to write 1. I'm doing terrible. Before
I don't
he
want to
left,
hear any more complaining about your writing.
yeah. Well, I mean, God. Before he left India, he had initiated 1 disciple.
Interesting, huh? Imagine being the first disciple
Yeah.
of Prabhupada.
In the next 12 years, he would initiate more than 4,000.
Wow.
Before he left India, hardly anyone had believed that he could fulfill his mission of a worldwide society of Krishna devotees. But in the next decade, he would form and maintain the International Society for Krishna Consciousness and open more than 100 centers. As an old man, you know.
Unbelievable.
Before sailing for America, he had never been outside of India. But in the next 12 years, he would travel many times around the world propagating the Krishna consciousness movement. It had been predicted in the scriptures and envisioned by great saints. A few of Srila Prabhupada's godbrothers had even tried to make it happen. They had gone to England, only to return convinced that it was impossible. These Western people can never understand Krishna Bhakti. They just won't be able to get it.
I get it. I get that. Like, how are we supposed to get this? We got to swing Krishna on a swing? Are you kidding? What?
Stop eating meat.
Stop eating meat. That's all of our. We don't even know what else to eat. I've actually said that at different parts of my life. Like, oh, you're vegetarians. There's nothing to eat. Like, we're so thick.
Yeah. But not until Srila Prabhupada traveled to America did it come to pass that Westerners wholeheartedly took up the life of Vaishnavism and became Krishna conscious devotees. This story of Srila Prabhupada's spiritual success is narrated in subsequent volumes of Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita, translated as The Nectar of the Pastimes of Srila Prabhupada. Beginning with Volume 2, Planting the Seed, New York City, 1965 to 1966. Yet this present volume, which covers most of his lifetime, telling how he prepared himself for his late burst of revolutionary spiritual activity, is most important. These first 69 years form a complete, dramatic life story and do not depend on anything he did later to explain them. Abhay Charan's father? Okay, hot seat, Mara. What was Prabhupada's father's name?
Oh.
You've read all of these memoirs.
I don't know.
Mohan Day.
Gaur Mohan Day.
Gaur Mohan Day.
Good job, Prabhu.
Thank you.
Abhay Charan's father, Gaur Mohan Day, carefully prepared Abhay from childhood for the life of a pure Vaishnava. Gaur Mohan taught him to worship Krishna and encouraged him, beginning when Abhay was only 5, in his Lord Jagannath cart parade through the streets of their Calcutta neighborhood. As a little boy, Prabhupada was pulling a little cart. A small Rath Yatra festival. The same festival Abhay was later to enact on a magnificent scale in many Western cities. Srila Prabhupada used to say in his latter days that whatever principles he had established as the leader of the Hare Krishna movement, he had learned in his childhood, with but one important exception. Okay, hot seat, Raghunath. What was the one thing of Prabhupada's mission to spread bhakti around the world that he didn't learn from his father?
Was it How to Cook a Gulabjamun?
Now, come on. You think his father couldn't cook a mean gulabjamun? You're
Yeah,
trained.
that's a good point. Good point. I don't know.
Book publication and distribution.
Yeah, there's probably no books back then, or
There are
very
books,
few.
but
Very
which he
few.
had learned later from his spiritual master.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It was his first meeting with his spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, in 1922 that focused Srila Prabhupada's future life into a meditation on how to carry out the mission of preaching Krishna consciousness in the West. We have to go there, Raghunath. Ultadanga,
Yeah, I
I
was just
went
reading
there.
about it yesterday.
the place where they first met. Maybe we could bring the group there, like when we fly into Calcutta. Just
Oh,
go
that's
straight to
interesting.
Ultadanga. Maybe if
That's
we set it
very
up, we
okay.
could
We
have
could talk about that.
a meal there or something like that.
Oh, that would be cool. That would be cool.
It's a beautiful. They did such a nice job with that place, restoring that place. All right, let's think about that one.
Okay.
After that first meeting, his entire life, his writing, his taking sannyas, becoming a renunciate, his publishing books, and finally his going to the West became part of his dedication to carrying out the order of higher authority. Right? It wasn't his own thing. He was going as a representative. Srila Prabhupada's obligation to his wife and children and his attempts to develop a business career in the pharmaceutical industry may appear inconsistent with a single-minded determination to spread Krishna consciousness. Yet his earnestness in pursuing these responsibilities and the way Providence finally extracted him from them proved important in his essential lifetime of preparation. After he left his family responsibilities in 1950, he met with obstacles of obscurity and poverty and an insecurity imposed by the tumultuous times in which he lived. But again, his struggle to continue his mission was part of his preparation.
Hmm.
In the light of Srila Prabhupada's unprecedented spiritual achievements in his latter life, it seems inevitable that I should say something here about his being empowered by God. According to the Vedic scriptures, the lives of certain individuals are part of God's mission on earth. In the West, Jesus Christ is the best known example of a chosen son sent by God from the spiritual world. And in the East, the Vedic writings tell of various avatars of Lord Vishnu, incarnations of the Supreme Lord with specific names, characteristics, and activities. Thus, Lord Krishna sometimes appears himself, and sometimes he empowers a particular devotee to do his work. What is that called? Mera, hot seat. What kind of avatar?
Shaktivesh.
Oh, yeah.
Boom, Mara. Can't even stump her
Mara's
anymore.
Like, look at her. She goes back
Can't
to her
even stump
knitting.
her. Back to her knitting like it's no big deal.
Shaktivesh avatar.
They're invested with the Shakti
Yeah,
of the Lord.
the energy, with the power.
Yeah.
Srila Prabhupada, in his commentary on Chaitanya Charitamrita, explains about souls empowered by Lord Krishna. Here's the quote. There are two kinds of living entities, Nitya Siddha and Nitya Bhada. The Nitya Siddha never forgets his relationship with the Supreme Personality, whereas the Nitya Bhada is always conditioned, even before the creation. He always forgets his relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By the order of the Supreme, the Nitya Siddha remains within this material world like an ordinary man, but his only business is to broadcast the glories of the Lord. And the Nitya Siddha, all the Nitya Siddhas within this material world may appear to toil like ordinary men.
Pretty interesting, huh?
Yeah.
Nitya, eternally perfected beings come in this world. They may appear at first to toil in the world, but actually then the actual sun starts to shine, and then they start to do what they're born to do, which is give light, give God, give truth, disseminate it. Pretty amazing.
Are you one of them, Raghunath?
Oh, I'm not to say.
That's what you just did. That's exactly what these cheaters do. Like they just no. We never said that.
Oh,
he's
I
impure.
never said that.
Oh no.
Oh no,
I
I'm
never
just a
said I'm
fallen.
not.
I'm just a fallen soul. I never said I'm not.
Okay.
I'm Nitya Bandha, eternally bound.
Yeah. In determining whether a person is empowered by God, the main consideration is the quality of his work. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, the scholar Vallabha says to Lord Chaitanya, quote, "The fact that you have spread Krishna consciousness all over the world proves that you have Krishna Shakti, transcendental power from Lord Krishna." After Srila Prabhupada's passing away in 1977, his senior godbrother, B.R. Sridhar Maharaj, quoted this same Krishna Shakti verse and applied it to Prabhupada. Unless he had been empowered by Krishna, he could not have spread Krishna consciousness as he did.
Wow.
Okay. We consider Srila Prabhupada's identity as Lord Krishna's empowered representative. The years of struggle described in this volume take on, when we consider this, then the years of struggle described in this volume take on a special sweetness.
Sure.
These years reveal little-known events in the life of a person who was always wrapped in devotional remembrance of Krishna. Although he struggled through many hardships, his struggles were not those of an ordinary man, for he lived solely to carry out the will of his Guru and Krishna. I invite the reader to enjoy the very real human life story of Srila Prabhupada, who is known in this volume as Abhay Charan.
I tell you, we're going to struggle in this world. Some of us are struggling right now. We're going to struggle. Why not struggle for such a noble cause to spread the truth, to spread light, to spread love, to spread Krishna? Why not struggle for that? If you look at Prabhupada's struggles, okay, he couldn't find a place to stay, couldn't find a place to establish a temple, couldn't establish a temple there, tried harder, it bumped his head on so many walls, and then it established. We're always going to have troubles. Why not take up a massive mission anyway? You're going to get the troubles anyway.
Why not a massive mission?
Take a massive mission up, and then you'll have troubles with that. And your legacy, you'll leave a legacy instead of just, well, you know what, I just squeaked by existence. Take on a bigger, brighter mission in your life. I'm saying this because there's some people that when I say that, it really appeals to them. And they realize, yeah, I meant to be doing something more. You are.
And it could be just being part of a larger mission, or like a small part. Right?
Yeah. Here's the deal. As long as your focus is
serving,
as long as our focus is of service, of light and love, of truth, of God, and that becomes, okay, how am I going to raise myself and raise my family and raise my children in God consciousness? How can I give this to other people? There'll be some obstacles, and that's great. And it'll be much, and as you get older, and as the older you are in life, the more you start to reflect on, like, I gave my life to this. I gave my life to this. And, maybe I wasn't great at it, but I did give my life to it. And Krishna is there with you. And it's just such a rewarding, I feel like it's a rewarding feeling of giving your life to something divine. And while you're doing it, releasing resentments, releasing bad feelings, releasing any knots in the heart we have towards what happened and some type of victimhood. And then you rise up and you realize, actually, those struggles were my greatest joys, because I was actually always thinking about you, Krishna, even in those struggles. How to make my family Krishna conscious, or how to give this to another person. And it is our, when we look back at Prabhupada's lifetime, we see, the struggles. Now it's just a gripping story. It's a gripping story, almost like the Mahabharata. We're listening to this gripping story that's getting us all closer and closer to God as we hear it.
What you're saying right now to remind me of the nugget from Rabindranath Tagore.
Yeah, tell me.
He said, "I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I woke and saw that life was service. I acted, and behold, service was joy." You ever hear that one before?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Right? Yeah. Then you realize, you take up service just to get yourself out of the muck and mire of selfishness and laziness, and then after some time you realize it's actually to serve. We think, you don't serve to become happy, but actually you find that happiness is found through service, right?
I was looking at Mary yesterday. She finished the podcast. She uploaded the podcast. She went right into the kitchen, started baking focaccia and all different types of things. She just all day long till everybody showed up. She was just in there serving.
Were you happy, Mary?
Yes.
She was. We both went to bed, but feeling like that was great. We just had a whole day of.
Yeah.
We were exhausted.
Mara fed us. That was great. Mara worked hard all day, and we ate all day. It was-
No, I cleaned. I cleaned.
Okay.
I cleaned. I was outside. I was inside. Ugh.
I have an idea here, Raghunath, is that we're definitely not going to be able to read all these 6 introductions, but there's a foreword to this first volume written by Harvey Cox.
You just go. You just go.
Okay.
Harvey Cox is a
He's
professor.
a professor of divinity at Harvard University.
Oh, very good.
All right. So this is his foreword to the first volume of Srila Prabhupada's biography. He writes, "It is a distinct and unusual honor for me to be asked to write a foreword to this eloquent and informative biography of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. But I feel that I have, to my great regret, I never met him during his sojourn here in America.
Oh,
But I feel that I have met him. The spiritual reality of a great teacher lives on in many ways, not the least in the lives of those he has touched. Since I have come to know many of Srila Prabhupada's disciples over the past years, as well as many devotees who are influenced by him without knowing him personally, I sense a certain acquaintanceship. To write this forward seems then, in some measure, like introducing a friend." What a nice way to start, huh?
Very sweet.
Yeah. Although it is not true to say in all cases that a religious movement is the shadow of a great teacher, still there is some measure of truth even in that familiar statement. It will surely help readers of this book understand ISKCON better, to know the man who founded it, and to be aware of the soil from which he comes. That was, yesterday's show was like the soil from which Krishna comes in one sense, right? Or which
Right.
Krishna Bhakti comes from in one sense.
That was
Just
a good
hearing
show.
about Nandagram and
Yeah.
hearing from a Brijbasi, hearing from a Vrindavan resident about their love for Krishna. Did he send you the video of the Shiva, the man acting?
Yes, he did. We should
Can you
put up
send me
on
that?
our Instagram stories.
Oh,
The guy dressed like Shiva would come to the table
Yeah,
every year,
send
and
me
he's
that
just
link.
like crying.
Okay.
He's just-
He's really crying?
yeah, he's just like crying in joy.
Amazing. Okay. The soil from which he came. The patience and care with which the author of this volume has reconstructed the long life Srila Prabhupada had already lived even before he set forth for America makes for absorbing and inspiring reading. I read it, I confess, not just because of my own interest in Srila Prabhupada, but because of the milieu the author recreates, tells us so much more than a mere life story could. That was the point that I was making, right? You read this biography and you really learn so much about India and about Indian spirituality and bhakti. It reminds us of how very ensconced Srila Prabhupada was in one of the oldest religious traditions in the world. It recalls how very much went on in the generations, centuries, and even millennia before him that seems to be gathered and focused in his life and in his teachings. In one sense, Srila Prabhupada was not at all original, and reading the story of his life raises questions about our typical Western proclivity to attach such value to originality. What the book makes clear, on the contrary, is that Srila Prabhupada is a man who incarnates an ancient tradition. The opening verse of the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the Indian text most precious to ISKCON, teach that the ageless science of Bhakti Yoga, what Christians might call the devotional path to God, is always received by what the Indians call parampara. That is, it is passed from one teacher to the next in a living chain, from ancient times to the present. Srila Prabhupada is best understood, as this book presents him, as one particularly effective link in this chain. Nice.
Very nice.
Yet it must be added, Srila Prabhupada is also a unique person. To say that the teachings of the ancient ones come to us through a series of teachers does not mean that the teachers themselves are interchangeable. If they were so faceless, there'd be little point in writing a biography of any of them. But this life of Srila Prabhupada is pointed proof that one can be a transmitter of truth and still be a vital and singular person, even in a sense I now feel safe to use in some ways as original. Srila Prabhupada lived during the particularly critical period in Indian history, that of British colonial rule and its aftermath. He worked with and among dozens of people who befriended, opposed, supported, or ignored him. He initiated Back to Godhead magazine. At what almost anyone would consider a very advanced age, when most people would be resting on their laurels, he hearkened to the mandate of his own spiritual teacher and set out on the difficult and demanding voyage to America. Srila Prabhupada is, of course, only one of thousands of teachers, but in another sense, he is one in 1,000, maybe one in 1,000,000. As a Christian, I find it very important and impressive to me that Srila Prabhupada took it upon himself to bring the teaching he so well represents to America. This sentence, I'm sure, requires some explanation. First of all, as a Christian, I come from a tradition in which God's sending of someone to bring a vital message to those who desperately need it is held in very high esteem. Throughout the Hebrew scriptures, Yahweh sends prophets to remind the people how far they have strayed from his will, to expose the way they have misused the poor and failed to defend the widow and the fatherless. In the New Testament, Jesus sends forth his disciples 2 by 2, asking them to take along only the scantiest clothing and equipment, telling them to bear the message of peace and salvation to the uttermost parts of the earth. God himself is depicted as sending his only Son into the world on a mission that would ultimately cost him his life. Christians are taught to respect and admire those who are willing to pay the heavy price of leaving comfort and security behind to go somewhere else to carry a message of liberation. What a good writer this man is, huh?
I know.
Today, however, many Christians have become comfortable and complacent, not only unwilling themselves to engage in such hardship, but often unable to even understand or appreciate those who do. It's a great loss, even though some people claim it is a good thing that many Christians are no longer as interested in carrying out their message to other parts of the world, that they've become less presumptuous or arrogant. I personally believe that it has more to do with sloth and the satiety?
Satanic?
No, not satanic.
Satiety.
Satiety. Something.
I'm just guessing.
Satiety. Satiety.
Satiety. I'm going to go with satiety.
Mara, you on it?
Trying to
I think it means like
satiety.
wanting safety or something.
The quality or state of being fed or gratified to or beyond capacity.
Okay, so it's definitely not satanic.
Like fullness.
Okay. Okay, so it has more to do with their sloth and satiety of consumer society than with humility. I have little patience with zealous proselytizing, no matter who inflicts it on whom. I do believe, however, that any spiritual teaching worth following is also worth sharing. When I visited, he said that in a very nice, concise way. When I visited India, living in fact in the very place where Srila Prabhupada's tradition is centered, Vrindavan, I was thankfully received by everyone there, including the sages and the holy men, and was asked to share my tradition with them. I spoke to them as a Christian about what Jesus Christ means to me and about what his teachings has to offer to the world. They listened attentively and gratefully. Their only complaint, as I recall, was that I had not spoken long enough. Indians, unlike Americans, seem in no hurry to rush off to something else if there is a serious spiritual discussion to be followed. Given the fact that I was so well received in Srila Prabhupada's own land, I am sorry that he and his students still often find it so difficult to be heard or taken seriously here in America.
It's all changing.
Huh?
That's all changing.
Yeah, in some way. I mean, because he's coming from a time where there were lawsuits against devotees, where we called cult, all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, he was always stuck up for the devotees.
Yeah.
And the 1 in 1,000,000 is such like an understatement now. If you really start to really appreciate Prabhupada, it's like can't even calculate how fortunate we are to this person shows up and changed the course of the future.
You
for
know,
so
I
many
was
souls.
last night I was asked to speak on a particular subject. Um, they chose, it's written in Rupa Goswami's Nectar or Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which Prabhupada translated as Nectar Devotion. He mentions that there are 50 qualities, that Krishna has 64 qualities. Of course, he has unlimited qualities, but like 64 important qualities. And that the average jiva, like people like us, may possess up to 50 of those qualities. And then I believe Lord Shiva possesses some more. And then Lord Vishnu possesses still more, up to 60. But that Krishna has 4 qualities that
Good
no
trivia
one has.
question
Not
right
even.
here. Good trivia question.
Oh, yeah, Mara. She's not even trying.
I
Roga?
don't know.
Is engaging kills demons, killing of demons? Oh,
No,
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 no, no.
no, no, no. Engages in loving pastimes with his devotees.
That he has uniquely sweet Leela Madhurya. Uniquely sweet Leela.
Yeah.
Each one is Madhurya. So
Something like attracts the universe by playing on his flute. Is that one?
that Venu Madhurya that he has plays this flute playing is unique.
Nope, got me.
He's always surrounded by loving devotees, very sweet devotees.
Okay.
Right. So devotees, the flute, the pastimes, and he has unique beauty. It's just like unparalleled, unmatched. Rupa Madhurya.
Imagine that.
Huh?
Imagine that.
Now, one of the points that I was making was, this is, if you hear that, it could sound like in other words, if you hear, and then the supreme, the ultimate being, the original, ultimate being, the source of everything, has these 4 qualities that no one else has. You would think it'd be something more like what Lord Vishnu manifests, like through his breathing, he manifests his unlimited universes. You'd think of it like that. But it's like, no, he plays the flute very beautifully.
It's like, come on, there's a lot of other beautiful flute players out there, aren't they? There must
Not
be
like
something
Krishna.
to that flute playing that
Well,
is
that is more wondrous and powerful than even the creation and the destruction of the universes, unlimited universes. And it's not even a joke, though, right? It's like, it's not even trying to be cute or humorous. But there's something in these qualities of Krishna that speaks to the nature of all existence, of like what's most important and significant. Like Krishna plays that flute. It's not like ordinary music, but it's like a call to the heart that overcomes everything, that is actually more powerful and influential than creation and destruction and the maintenance of the universes and some. My point being is that what Srila Prabhupada did was, Sri Chaitanya empowered the Goswamis of Vrindavan to take all of the conclusions of these ancient texts, assimilate them, and present them in a way that it was like so clear and unmistakable that you could figure out the entire, not just the universe, but like all of existence. You can figure the whole thing out, and you could understand where the pinnacle of it is, and what's the potential for the soul to evolve to. And Srila Prabhupada assimilated their messages and wrote them into his commentary so anyone can get it. Anyone, anywhere in the world, can have access to this most special, confidential, spiritual conclusions. And if it wasn't for Srila Prabhupada doing that, what would we make of let's just say Krishna's Leela, right?
it's like almost like cartoon stories.
It's kids
It's
stories.
Kid stories. It doesn't
Yeah.
make
Love
affairs, sweet love affairs.
Yeah, and someone might say, no, actually, there's oh, hey,
I don't know how it did that.
Yeah, okay. But someone might look a little deeper and say, no, there's some nice morals in those kids stories.
Right.
It's something more than just kids stories. Or someone might say, no, this is a very special storytelling tradition. We should really
Right.
look. There's a lot of deep stuff here. It's actually way beyond any of that.
No, he's
Yeah.
the center of the universe, and we are all feminine. We're all trying to fall back in love with Krishna, And these demons represented narthas or unwanted things in our heart. And
That the soul has a dormant potential to love unlimitedly, that's been, untapped,
and we've wasted our time trying to love things of this world that won't
yeah.
satisfy us. We're
Yeah.
perpetually an illusion, perpetually an illusion, trying to again and again fill our God-shaped hole with things and stuff and people and romance and adventure sports and
But
everything except God.
but because we're so afraid of that God, because we know him as all, because we think of him or conceive him as this all-powerful being that we must submit to.
Yeah,
So
we've
our
been
whole
trained to think that God is this horrible sadistic being that you have to surrender to, or else he's going to blow your head off. It's almost like it's like, you think of surrender. It's like a SWAT team surrounds you. Surrender. You're
okay,
like, all right. This
there's
is what
nothing else
love
I
of
can
God
do
is.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's not love of God. That's a SWAT team.
Well, because my topic was Leela Madhurya, that he has incredibly sweet pastimes,
Yeah. What'd you
and
do?
that's one of the four things that even Lord Vishnu is not demonstrating. I said, well, let's read a little bit of Krishna's Leela, and I would just read a few verses from the 10th canto of Bhagavatam, and it's like I was reading verses, Raghunath, that were like they were talking about how Krishna and his other incarnation, Balaram, his brother, are crawling in the mud of Vrindavan. They're little boys that can't even walk yet. They're crawling in the mud, covered in mud, and they hear the tinkling of ankle bells of some women, and they think, oh, there's mommy, right? Because they know mommy has these bells on her ankles.
Mm.
And then they go crawling after these ladies, and then those ladies turn around and they look and say, oh, look how adorable little Krishna and Balaram are. And then they realize that's not mommy. And then they get afraid. And then they turn around and start crawling back to mommy. Now, that's what the Supreme Being does out of his own will. And it's not only that he's just kind of like faking it, he actually gets lost in the Leela, in the play.
Mm.
And when the mothers see Krishna turn around and go, oh, there's mommy, they get flooded with an experience that is so beyond anything that money can buy, the money of this world can buy, right? No matter, you could reach the peak of material success, and whatever you might experience is completely dwarfed by that experience. That is what the soul is meant to be experiencing. That kind of exchange of love and the emotions and the feelings that are our potential to be experiencing at every moment, to be immersed in divine love eternally, is what Krishna is all about. And the way that Srila Prabhupada presented it is like he's giving anyone, and I shared, as I often do, that like I had these friends growing up that were just like these wildest kids that not only didn't graduate from high school, they didn't even go to high school. And just by reading Srila Prabhupada's commentaries, they were reading Prabhupada's books, they were getting the teachings of Sri Chaitanya and the six Goswamis of Vrindavan, these incredibly erudite scholars and philosophers. And they were understanding it all, putting it all together, and they were better able to answer my questions about life and about God and than anyone that I had met. They knew the whole thing.
Any professor at divinity school.
Yeah, they knew more than the professors in the divinity schools about reality, about spirituality, about its conclusion and its essence. That is Srila Prabhupada's miracle,
Yeah.
right? That is Srila Prabhupada. That street kids in New York City could understand reality better than great scholars.
It's a miracle on Second Avenue.
There you go. It's a miracle on Second Avenue right there.
And the fact that it took place on the Lower East Side is just it's almost uncanny, like out of all places.
Yeah.
We grew up watching a TV show called The Bowery Boys. Do you remember The Bowery
Dead End
Boys?
Kids.
It was just like street kids of the Bowery. It was like a comedy, but it was about the Lower East Side. It was supposed to be about the Lower East Side in the 30s.
Yeah.
And it was just little gangs getting into fight, playing tricks on people, getting into trouble, escaping the cops. And then it grew into a 60s thing. And then when we grew up, it grew into an 80s thing, punk rock music. But it was always a sketchy neighborhood. And Prabhupada, out of all the places he could have landed, he
Right
landed
there.
right into this. It seems like a trash heap, but within that trash, there were so many jewels. He met the most interesting people, and he elevated them and lifted them higher and uncovered them, and the magic's still happening.
It's one great thing about living in New York City is that you do have holy places on the level of India's holy places just because of Srila Prabhupada, right? You
Yeah.
can go to the tree in Tompkins Square Park and feel like you're sitting in a holy, a true holy place because it's the birthplace, the Leela Stan. It was where Krishna's pure devotee had his pastimes and began his mission.
Who knows if 26 Second Avenue is still going to be there, in 100 years.
Yeah, hopefully hopefully we could take it over like the Uttadanga place and preserve
Buy
it
that
well.
building. Yeah.
All right, Bubba.
It's going to be a great day. I'm going to listen to Prabhupada appreciations all day today.
Nice.
Do you have any takeaways, Miss Mare?
Takeaways are for Bhagavatam.
Takeaways for Bhagavatam. Okay. That's a rule. I guess I never missed. I didn't know that. I didn't know I approved that rule, but okay.
I'll see if I can get that talk I gave last night up on the Sage.
Get that up on the Sage platform.
See when it drops.
See when it drops. Drop it. Drop it on the
I'm gonna try to
platform.
drop
Thanks
it
everybody joining us. Thanks all our supporting members. If you're still on Patreon supporting, move it over to the new platform. The new platform is impeccably organized. God, we're gearing up for a big Chant Camp weekend this weekend. And we got Wisdom of the Sage this weekend coming up in Columbus Day. I'm excited for that. Then we go off
This
to
coming
India.
it's like
It's all around the corner,
now.
man. Then we're going to India, like right after that.
I know. I got invited to teach a yoga teacher training to people from a country where you're not allowed to practice Bhakti.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So you might be criminally implicated. You can't practice yoga in the
Drag me
country. You
away.
can't practice a spiritual path.
But I'll be in Rishikesh building up to our retreat. So
If you're really sincere, you'll go to the actual country where it's banned. Go undercover, grow a mustache,
someday,
teach it undercover. Kaustubha, do it for God. He'll protect you. Hare Krishna. Oh, Kaustubha. Radha. All right, I'm going to post a picture of my son playing Mridanga, leading his kirtan on my Instagram. Give him a shout. Maybe my stories. Proud of him.
Are you trying to live vicariously through him, Raghu?
Probably in a lot of ways.
Okay.
You want the God honest truth, yes.
Hey,
Catherine A's here. We got Catherine A. Say
hey,
hello,
let's get Catherine A.
Come
over
on.
here. Haven't seen her since India.
Catherine A's mug in the photo.
There she is. Oh, what a pleasure.